Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you and yours, wherever you are on the World Wide Web. You are listening to Let's Talk, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization on the Blog Talk Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com. My name is Brother Malachi of the Men Empowered Organization. It is a Thursday, August the 8th, 2013. This is going to be a 30-minute show of the Book of Jasher, a special edition of Chapter 24. I'd like to thank you all for joining us, the ones that are listening to us through YouTube. My special thanks to Brother JEWEDuP for bringing the broadcast with a visual effect. The Book of Jasher, Chapter 24. We will begin momentarily. Also, we will have this week's commentary from WJMG right here in Hattiesburg and Laurel, Mississippi, fresh 92.1 on your FM dial. Shalom, this is Malachi, founder of the Men Empowered Organization. We are bringing you a new weekly commentary right here to the Pine Belt's original urban radio pioneer. Looking forward to sharing with you absolute knowledge and truth. Stay tuned for the day and time exclusively on the original Urban FM. And that can be heard every Thursday right here on WJMG FM 92.1 on your FM dial. We will be bringing that momentarily right after the Book of Jasher. If you'd like to join in on our show conversation while we are here live, you can hit us up at 347-205-9279. And when we're not here on the air, you can always reach us at area code 504-484-9388 or 601-297-2927, and our email address is menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. And we're going now to the Book of Jasher, Chapter 24. The Book of Jasher, Chapter 24. You can reference this in Genesis chapter 23 if you do not have the Book of Jasher. It won't be word for word, but it'll be similar. I want to remind you the Book of Jasher, the reference can be found in Joshua chapter 10, verse 13, where Joshua mentions that he read this in the Book of Jasher. He mentioned that the sun stood still. And you can just go ahead and check that out. He read this in the Book of Jasher. The Most High told Joshua to meditate upon the word day and night, and you shall have good success. So one of the books that Joshua meditated on was the Book of Jasher. Beginning in chapter 24, verse 1. This takes place when Sarah, after she had heard, you can pick it up back in 23 and 22, Isaac, Ishmael, and Abraham went up to the mountain. As you know, the story goes, as well as in Genesis, they went up to do an offering to the Most High. Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac up on the mountaintop. But in the Book of Jasher, he asked Ishmael, what do you see up there in the mountain? He said, all I see is just a mountain. He asked Isaac, what do you see up in the mountain? He said he see the glory of the Most High sitting on his throne. And he told Ishmael to stay where he is, and we will be back down. So Abraham continued to take Isaac up to the mountain, and they went forward. You can read the accounts of that in Jasher 23 and I believe Jasher 22 as well. But somehow Sarah heard a word that was not coming from the Most High, and she fainted when she heard that word about her only son, Isaac, and she died. So you can see about that in Jasher 23. But we're going to pick it up because this is a special edition for YouTube as well as Blog Talk Radio. We will pick this up at verse 1 in chapter 24. And the life of Sarah was 127 years, and Sarah died. And Abraham rose up from before his dead to seek a burial place to bury his wife Sarah. And he went and spoke to the children of Het, the inhabitants of the land, saying, I am a stranger, in verse 2, and a sojourner with you in your land. Give me a possession of a burial place in your land, that I may bury my dead from before me. Verse 3, and the children of Het said unto Abraham, Behold, the land is before thee, in the choice of our specular bury thy dead, for no man shall withhold thee from burying thy dead. Verse 4, and Abraham said unto them, If you are agreeable to this, go and entreat for me to Ephraim, the son of Zochar, requesting that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which is in the end of his field, and I will purchase it of him for whatever he desire for it. Verse 5, and Ephraim dwelt among the children of Het, and they went and called for him, and he came before Abraham. And Ephron said unto Abraham, Behold, all thou requested thy servant will do. And Abraham said, No, but I will buy the cave and the field which thou hast for value, in order that it may be for a possession of a burial place forever. Verse 6, and Ephraim answered and said, Behold, the field and the cave are before thee. Give whatever thou desirest. And Abraham said, Only at full value will I buy it from thy hand, and from thy hands of those that go in at the gate of the city, and from the land of the sea forever. And Ephron and all his brethren heard this, and Abraham weighed to Ephron 400 shekels of silver, and in the hands of Ephron, and in the hands of all his brethren. And Abraham wrote this transaction, and he wrote it and testified it for 4 witnesses. Verse 8, and these are the names of the witnesses: Ammiel, son of Abishai, and the Hittite; Adikron, son of Ashana, the Hivite; Abdon, son of Archram, the Gomorite; Bakdil, the son of Abidish, the Zilonite. Verse 9, and Abraham took the book of the purchase and placed it in his treasure. And these are the words of Abraham wrote in the book, namely, verse 10, that the cave and the field Abraham bought from Ephron the Hittite, and from his seed, and from those that go out of his city, and from their seed forever, are to be a purchase to Abraham, to his seed, and to those that go forth from his loins, for a possession of a burial place forever. Now there's something that you can say now. Forever. When the Most High makes a covenant to Abraham, it's forever. And he put a signature to it and testified it with witnesses. Verse 11, and the field and the cave that was in it and all that place were made sure unto Abraham and unto his seed after him from the children of Het. Behold, it is before Mamre in Hebron, which is in the land of Canaan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Canaan land is in the upper part of the so-called continent of Africa. You're going to hear something on the commentary at the end of our show about the continent Africa. It was not named by the Canaanites, not named by the Hebrews, called Africa. You're going to hear something that I'm going to say on this commentary, and I want you to go ahead and pay attention, because we are not African Americans. We are Hebrew Israelites. That's right. We are Hebrew Israelites. The so-called African Americans, the so-called Negroes right here in the United States and Canada are Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Judah. Verse 12, and after this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah there. That place and all its boundaries became to Abraham and unto his seed for a possession of a burial place. Verse 13, and Abraham buried Sarah and prompt as observed to the interment of kings, and she was buried in very fine and beautiful garments. Verse 14, and at her burial was Shem, his son Eber, and Abimelech, together with Anar, Ashko, and Mamre, and all the guardians of the land followed her burial. Verse 15, and the days of Sarah were 120 years, and she died. And Abraham made a great and heavy mourning, and he performed the rites of mourning for 7 days. Verse 16, and all the inhabitants of the land confronted Abraham and Isaac his son on account of Sarah. Verse 17, and when the days of their mourning passed by, Abraham sent away his son Isaac, and he went to the house of Shem and Eber. Remember that name, Eber. You're going to hear it again in the commentary that's going to follow. To learn the ways of the Most High, all his instructions. And Abraham remained there 3 years. Verse 18, at that time Abraham rose up with all his servants, and they went and returned homeward to Beersheba. And Abraham and all his servants remained in Beersheba. Verse 19, and at the revolution of the year of Amalek, king of the Philistines, died in that year. He was 193 years old at his death. And Abraham went with his people to the land of the Philistines, and they confronted the whole household and all his servants, and he then turned and went home. Verse 20, and it was after the death of Amalek that the people of Gerar took Ben-Melech his son, and he was only 12 years old, and they made him lying in the place of his father. Verse 21, and they called his name Amalek after the name of his father, for thus was it their custom to do in Gerar. And Amalek reigned instead of Abimelech, his father, and he sat up on his throne. Verse 22, and Lot, the son of Haran, also died in those days, in the 39th year of the life of Isaac. And all the days that Lot lived were 140 years, and he died. Verse 23. And these are the children of Lot that were born to him by his daughters. The name of the firstborn was Moab. Now, you all remember that Lot's wife died because she disobeyed her husband by turning around and looking at Sodom. And the daughters of the daughters of Lot, I believe they were afraid because they did not have a male to go and produce a seed after them or for them. All right. And these are the children of Lot that were born to him by his daughters. The name of the firstborn was, remember these names, Moab. And the name of the second was Benjamin. Verse 24. And the two sons of Lot went and took themselves wives from the land of Canaan, and they bare children to them. And the children of Moab were Ed, Maon, Tarz, and Canvel, 4 sons. These are fathers to the children of Moab unto this day. Now remember that name, Moab, later on as we go down the road in the book of Jasher. Verse 25. And all the families of the children of Lot went to dwell wherever they should light upon, for they were fruitful and increased abundantly. Verse 26. And they went and built themselves cities in the land where they dwelt, and they called the names of the cities which they built after their own names. Now remember this, what they said right here. They built after their own names. I show you something because the original inhabitants named the cities after themselves. So it's almost like you could say first come, first serve. So why, if you have inhabitants, why should it be renamed? We're going to talk about that in the commentary momentarily. Verse 27, and Nahon, the son of Terah, brother to Abraham, died in those days in the 40th year of the life of Isaac. And all the days of Nahon were 172 years, and he died and was buried in Haran. And when Abraham heard that his brother was dead, he grieved sadly, and he mourned over his brother many days. And Abraham called for Eleazar, his head servant, to give him orders concerning his house. And he came and stood before him. Verse 30, and Abraham said to him, Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death, for I am advanced in days. Now therefore rise up, go forth, and do not take a wife for my do not take a wife for my son from this place and from this land, from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom we dwell. Verse 31, but go to the land and to my birthplace, and take from there a wife for my son. And the Most High God of heaven and earth, who took me from my father's house and brought me to this place, and said unto me, to thy seed will I give this land for an inheritance forever. He will send his angel before thee and prosper thy ways, that thou mayest obtain a wife for my son from my family and from my father's house. Back then, it was lawful to marry cousins. You had it of the same seed. All right, verse 32. And the servant answered his master Abraham and said, Behold, I go to thy birthplace and to the father's house, and take a wife for thy son from there. But if the woman be not willing to follow me to this land, shall I take my son back to the land of thy birthplace? Verse 33, and Abraham said unto him, Take heed that thou bring not my son hither again, for the Most High before whom I have walked, he will send his angel before thee and prosper thy way. There is no failure in the instructions of the Most High. Verse 34, and Eleazar did as Abraham ordered him, and Eleazar swore unto Abraham his master upon this matter. And Eleazar rose up and took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and 10 men from his master's servants with him. And they rose up and went to Haran, the city of Abraham and Nahor, in order to fetch a wife for Isaac, the son of Abraham. And whilst they were gone, Abraham sent to the house of Shem and Eber, and they brought from this his son Isaac. Verse 35, and Isaac came home to his father's house to Beersheba, whilst Eleazar and his men came to Haran, and they stopped in the city by the watering place. And he made his camels to kneel down by the water, and they remained there. Verse 36, and Eleazar, Abraham's servant, prayed and said, O God of Abraham, my master, sent me, I pray thee, the good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master, that thou shalt appoint this day a wife for my master's son from his family. And the Most High hearkened to the voice of Eliezer, and he, for the sake of his servant Abraham. And he happened to meet with the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, brother to Abraham. And Eliezer came to her house, and Eliezer related to them all his concerns, and that he was Abraham's servant, and they greatly rejoiced at him. Verse 39, and we're just about to close the phone lines, but don't go away. We'll go ahead and do the commentary momentarily. Verse 39, and they all blessed the Most High who brought this thing about, and they gave him Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, for a wife for Isaac. Verse 40, for the young woman was very comely appearance. She was a virgin, and Rebekah was 10 years old in those days. Verse 41, and Bethuel and Laban and his children made a feast on that night, and Eleazar and his men came and ate and drank and rejoiced there on that night. Verse 44, and Eleazar rose up in the morning, he and the men that were with him, and he called to the whole household of Bethuel, saying, Send me away, that I may go to my master. And they rose up and sent away Rebekah and her nurse Deborah, the daughter of Uz. And they gave her silver and gold, men servants and maid servants, and they blessed her. Verse 43, and they sent Eleazar away with his men, and the servants took Rebekah, and he went and returned to his masters to the land of Canaan. Verse 44, and Isaac took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he brought her into the tent. Verse 45, the final verse of this chapter. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of his uncle Bethuel, for a wife. This is the conclusion of the Book of Jasher, chapter 24. The Book of Jasher, chapter 24. Now we're going to go ahead with just a few minutes left in the overtime. We will go ahead and listen to the commentary of this week on WJMG. To this week's edition of the Men Empowered Commentary, right here on the Pine Belt's original Urban FM. It is Thursday, August the 8th, 2013. My name is Brother Malachi of the Men Empowered Organization. As always, we wish to thank Mr. Vernon C. Floyd and his staff for inviting us here to share with you absolute knowledge and truth. We can be reached at 601-297-2927 and online at menempoweredtoprosper at yahoo.com. And our web address is www.blogtalkradio.com/Men Empowered. Last week, at the end of our commentary, I mentioned the fact that Christ is a black man. Revelations chapter 1, verses 14 and 15 describing Christ. This past Saturday evening, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who recently visited West Africa. The person who was checking her passport noticed on her passport her ethnicity mentioned African American. He mentioned to her she had European features and should be listed as a European American. Let me mention, if you see her, you will know that she is black. How far off was he trying to put an answer on ethnicity? Yes, we have a melting pot of black and brown in all shades since slavery, but the fact remains, you are still black. Did you know the continent of Africa was named after Roman general Scipio Africanus? In this brief explanation, land and countries were named after the inhabitants of the land after the flood. The names of the northern part of Africa was named after Ham's son Canaan and not Africa. The language and names of our people came from Eber, the son of Selah, whose great-great-great-grandfather is Shem. Hebrew derived from Eber, Genesis chapter 11. Finally, Israel came from the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, Jacob. As the people grew, we were known as Hebrew Israelites. The northern kingdom, primarily of the 10 tribes of the 12 tribes of Israel, came to the Americas and is mentioned in the deleted books of the Bible taken out by the Roman Catholic Church. The past weeks we have had mentioned the fact that the other 2 tribes were in the southern part of Israel, Judah and Levi, and fled into Africa in 70 A.D. The reason why the deletion of the 14 books is to cover up one of the biblical facts in 2 Esdras chapter 13, verses 40 through 45. And it reads, verse 40, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanus the king of Assyria led away captive and carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitudes of the heathen and go forth into further country, where never mankind dwelt. Verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. Verse 43, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the rivers. Verse 44, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over. Verse 45, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Ossarit. Ossarit is known today as the Americas. This information from the 1611 King James Bible, known as the Apocryphal books, clearly shows that Christopher Columbus read the Bible to find out where the 10 tribes traveled to. Malcolm X said it right. How can you discover something when it had already been discovered? This land was called by our forefathers Osiris, meaning hidden land. Let us not forget that all 12 tribes were under Egyptian slavery until Moses was set up by the Most High God to deliver them out of Egypt. Egypt, from the line of Ham, enslaved the Hebrews from Shem. This is not DNA. This is Bible of where the Most High people would be scattered in the earth. With that in mind, the stage was set up to bring the rest of the tribes into the so-called Americas in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68. Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Most High God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Deuteronomy 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fall with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. Verse 36. The Most High shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have ever known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether the Most High shall lead thee. Verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. And finally, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you. If you know history, this is people of color in the Western Hemisphere. Like I said before, the Most High is waking up his people. Time is winding down for the return of Christ, and Israel is rising. The views and opinions of this commentary is strictly of the Men Empowered organization and not the opinions of this radio station. My name is Brother Malachi, and this is our commentary. Shalom. And we are out of time. This concludes our lesson tonight of the special edition of Jasher chapter 24. Until Sunday, right here at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us again for another edition of Let's Talk and the Book of Jasher. We're going to leave you with Richard Shepherd Jr. to Zion. Shalom, Israel.
I was lost, but now I'm found.
my past.